podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Hey guys, welcome to another week here on Ring Around The Rosie. I'm Kim Brown, aka Platinum Rose Lady, aka the hostess with the mostest, the hostess of this show. Hey, I hope everybody had a great week so far. Obviously we have a lot, and I mean a lot, to talk about here with Wrestlemania just in the rearview mirror, and Raw and Smackdown, and upcoming shows and stuff like that, which is great. But I do want to bring up something really kind of serious to kick off the show with. Jerry Lawler has allowed the news to come out that he had a really scary thing happen a couple of weeks ago. He on March 21st, he suffered a stroke, which is, I mean, that's scary as fuck, people. I mean, that is not something you play around with. Obviously, Jerry had a heart attack on, one episode of Raw, which was really, really frightening. And, he was at home with his fiancée, a lady named Lauren, and was unable to speak. His face was sagging, and thankfully he made a recovery, which is just really amazing. I mean, a stroke is something that, like I said, you do not fuck around with that. That is some serious shit. So when I found out this news, I was like, what the what? It just seems like you can't keep a good king down. So, congratulations to Jerry Lawler from recovering from his stroke, and continued, good luck and good health to you, sir. Keep doing what you're doing, I guess, cause you're still with us, and that's obviously an exceedingly cool thing. Okay. Not a lot of bullshitting around this week. We're going to jump right into WrestleMania 34, which came to us from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, on April 8th, 2018, with an attendance of 78,133 people. Holy shit. That is a lot of people. I really don't want to think about what the parking lot must have been like when it was time to leave. I mean, holy crap. I mean, that's completely insane. We started with the pre-show and all the stuff that goes on there within, including the fact that we had JBL at the pre-show table, and I was like, fuck, are we being punished? Did we do something bad? I promise we won't do it again. Just make him go away. I can't deal with that dude. I'm sorry. I know he's like wicked smart when it comes to money and stuff like that, but man, that guy fucking irritates me. And that's his job. I get it. That's his job. But, some of us remember Germany a few years back. And some of us are still a little salty about that. Just saying. And we had John Cena, who kept to his word and was in the audience at WrestleMania. He said that, if The Undertaker didn't answer his challenge, he was going to be in the audience. So, there he was. Just sitting in the front row. Awfully convenient that was. And taking pictures with the fans and drinking beer. At least I think it was beer. I'm hoping it wasn't beer, because I'm like, if he keeps drinking like that, the Undertaker's going to go out and show up, and he's going to be too sloshed to fight. Not really though, because he's from Massachusetts, so we're pretty hearty drinkers up here. It's all the Irish and Italian blood. These are not people who are teetotalers by nature. And I'm Irish, so I can get away with saying that. Don't yell at me. The pre-show was of course, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which had, a shit ton of people who didn't have individual matches in it, and that was really exciting and amazing and confusing, because it always is. I mean, I love battle royals, don't get me wrong, but half the time I'm like, I can't keep, I was following somebody and now they're fucking gone. You know, it's like, damn it. We got down to the final people in the ring, which were Matt Hardy, Mojo Rawley, and Baron Corbin. And I was like, okay, this is alright. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things just isn't the same. Okay. The thing is, the lights go out, and there's Bray Wyatt in the ring, who manages to help Matt Hardy win. So, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal was won by Matt Hardy with an assist and a hug afterwards from Bray Wyatt because fuck if I know. Seriously, fuck if I know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I know that he, took a dunk in the lake of reincarnation or whatever, but I'm sorry. I don't think that's how reincarnation works. I mean, I don't know. I'm Catholic. We don't go in for that kind of thing, but other people do, and that's cool. You know, you be you, as I say on this show a lot. But I'm also kind of like, I thought reincarnation meant you came back as something else. Bray Wyatt looks exactly the same as he did before. Creepy dude with the braids, with the dreadlocks and the shirt, the Hawaiian shirt thing happening. Whatever, okay. Following that was the finals of the Cruiserweight Championship tournament, with Cedric Alexander facing Mustafa Ali. Okay, I gotta bring this up. Both these guys looked fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But holy fuck, Mustafa's outfit. Oh man, I loved this look. I was like, okay, I am totally sold on that. The whole, with the thing with the mask, and it was all lit up, and the whole outfit, I was like, that rocks. That rocks so hard. It's so very cool. The end of the match saw Cedric Alexander winning and becoming WWE Cruiserweight Champion after a lumbar check. And it was a great match. It was really great. I mean, you could tell that these guys weren't out there being like, ugh, I hate you. Ugh, I hate you too. Fight, 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 fight. You know, it was like it was a lot of respect. I mean, they put 110% into it, and they're both faces, and that was cool. And at the end of the match, nobody tried to slug anybody, nobody beat on anybody. It was all done honorably. Hold on to that. Hold on to that to the end of the show, folks. Cup it in your hands like a baby bird. Following that was the first ever WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, which used to be called something else, but we're just gonna leave that way the fuck over there. The end of the match was one of those, okay, wait, what? Ow, oh, my head. Because it looked like Bayley won. But the thing is, it turns out Bayley did not win, and that Naomi, who had been thrown out but hadn't hit the floor and hadn't, been tossed over the top rope to be eliminated, Naomi got back in the ring and tossed Bayley out. And so now Naomi is the winner of the WrestleMania, the first annual WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. So applause, applause, applause to Naomi, who I think is very cool. And I was kind of debating whether or not to bring this up, because I'm kind of going, this is kind of skirting the boundaries of good taste. And then I remembered, oh no, wait, this is my show. So I'm sorry. I know that I'm sure, actually, I honestly don't recall. I'm pretty sure when they started talking about this whole Women's Battle Royal back when it was going to be called the Fabulous Moolah Memorial Battle Royal, that they had showed a picture of the trophy and that it had a statue of Moolah on top. Obviously, because the internet lost its fucking mind, and for a change, the WWE listened, and they changed the name of the Battle Royal, and they obviously couldn't have a trophy that had Moolah on it, so they had another trophy, which was a rather plain trophy compared to the men's trophy. About the trophy. Oh gosh. Now that I have a microphone in front of me, I'm going, I don't know how to say this and not come off as vulgar. So, fuck it. The trophy looks like a part of a female anatomy. Internally. Starts with a U and ends with an S. Go figure it out. Go look it up. Tell me I'm wrong. Somebody, please tell me I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, fucking tell me I'm wrong. Because I was just like, what the... Did they really design the trophy to kind of resemble a uterus? Please tell me they didn't do that. Please, somebody, lie to me. I don't care. Because if I'm the only one that saw this, then I need to change the strength on my meds. Anyway. Also, I would like to bring up, the person with the sign. There was a person with a sign. Obviously, there was a lot of people with signs. The person with the sign that said, "It's my birthday." Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, person with the sign at Wrestlemania 34. Happy birthday to you. So, just thought I'd throw that in there. You can't say that I don't try and be inclusive on this show, and I do try. And I mean, I might be vulgar and vicious and nasty occasionally, but I'm also Canadian, so I have to be polite sometimes. It's a genetic thing. Anyway, moving forward, those were the preliminary matches for the evening and the pre-show. To kick off the show, we had Chloe and Hallie performing America the Beautiful. And that was extremely nice. It was really well done. I thought it was a beautiful rendition. I still kind of don't understand why they don't use the Star Spangled Banner most of the time, but, whatever. I know. Although my husband did bring up a really good point, because we were talking about that, and I was bringing up, I don't understand why they don't use the Star Spangled Banner, because that is the national anthem. And he responded, well, the Star Spangled Banner is about the flag. America the Beautiful is actually about the country. And I was like, see, that's why I'm with him, because he's really friggin' smart. Following the performance, we had the three-way dance for the Intercontinental Championship with Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus The Miz. Now, The Miz, who came into the match as Intercontinental Champion. Now, already there is a winner in this match, and that is me. Because you've got Seth Rollins and Finn Balor out there, and I'm happy. I'm all excited. Seth Rollins comes out, and my jaw fell about, halfway down my chest, because he's dressed like a White Walker from Game of Thrones, complete with the uber blue eyes and the whole outfit, and holy shit did he look hot. Oh man, he looked friggin' amazing and ridiculously hot, and that's not even fair. I was like, how is Finn Balor gonna top this? And I'm sitting there going, please come out as the demon, please come out as the demon, please come out as the demon. And you'd think as a Supernatural fan, I would not want anything to do with demons, but Finn is hot. Finn is even hotter in body paint. There, I said it. I'm a woman. I have needs. Don't judge me. But what we got instead of Finn coming out dressed as the demon was Finn coming out, and his outfit showed support with the rainbow for the LGBTQ community, and he was out there with members of the LGBTQ community from Louisiana and probably beyond that. Finn has been very, vocal and about his support of people that feel disenfranchised and stuff like that because of their sexual choices. And I'm really like, damn, that's awesome. He's just really a very cool person, and I really like to meet him. Incredible match, come on. These are three guys that give it their all the time. At the end of the match, we had Seth Rollins winning after a curb stomp, which I was like, okay, I didn't know we brought that back, but apparently we have. And Seth Rollins became winning his first Intercontinental Championship, and that makes him the 19th person that can call themselves a Grand Slam champion. They've held all the belts, except obviously the women's belt, because, let's not go there. That's just weird. Following that match was the belt versus the streak. SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair, the champion, putting her belt on the line against Asuka, who was putting her unbeaten streak on the line. Charlotte's entrance was a little much. I don't like saying that. I don't. Because I'm all for pomp and circumstance, and I'm all for gaudy. I mean, anybody who knows me and knows my taste in jewelry and has ever talked to my mom, hi mom, would be like, yep, you want to describe her taste, you can go toward gaudy. That's who I am. What do you want? But I don't know, the whole thing with the Centurions and I was like, this is still wrestling, right? This isn't a porno, right? I was just like, okay. Obviously, these two women were going to put on a match that was going to tear the house down, and they did not disappoint. In a moment that I was like, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, holy fucking shit, it just happened. Charlotte got Asuka in the figure 8 leg lock, and Asuka submitted. So, Charlotte keeps her belt, and Asuka's undefeated streak has ended. And I was like, stunned, gobsmacked, floored, completely like, what the what? I'm so glad I wasn't drinking anything. I would have had like the biggest spit take ever. The thing that I thought was incredibly cool was that after the match was done, Asuka got on the mic and said that Charlotte was ready for Asuka, and the two of them had a really nice embrace, and I was like, that's awesome. I was like, that is the best. Because I have my own personal code. I'm nobody's, I'm not gonna say I'm anybody's hero or anything like that, but I have my own personal code that I live by, and my own personal code says that you are gracious in victory, and you are just as gracious in defeat. That's the way I live my life. Following that match, though, we had a little bit of a kerfuffle in the crowd, because as we had all this stuff going on in the ring, some of us noticed that there was this referee running hell-bent for leather, down to ringside, around the ring, jumped the barrier, and went over to John Cena and said something in John's ear. And whatever he said obviously lit a fire under John's butt, because he stood up, jumped the barrier, and ran up the ramp to the back like somebody just said his house was on fire. And I'm sitting there going, I am confused. I am very confused. I'm not entirely sure what just happened, or might happen, or I don't know. It's just, The following match number 3, was United States champion Randy Orton, defending his as I said, the belt against Bobby Roode, Jinder Mahal, and Rusev in a 4-way dance. And through the fact that Jinder Mahal can't do anything without Sunil Singh, take that however you want to, Mahal winds up winning, so he becomes the U.S. champion. Blech. I'm not saying that out of any dislike for Indian people, because I don't have any dislike about anybody. I have a dislike for assholes, and Jinder Mahal is an asshole. But I know the WWE is trying really hard to push into India, but you can give this guy every belt you have. He still sucks. So, I'm sorry. I just have to say it like I feel it. And the fans were pissed. They were not fucking happy considering the enormous Rusev Day chant going on. And I don't get it. If anybody out there, PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com, I am begging you, please, somebody explain to me the fucking Rusev Day thing. Please, somebody, anybody, explain it to me, because I don't fucking get it. So, there's that. The next match was one of the ones that I was really, really, really looking forward to, featuring Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey facing the team of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. This was a really good match. I enjoyed the living shit out of it. Ronda Rousey has arrived. Hail to the Queen, baby. No, she can't be the Queen because Charlotte's the Queen. Actually, Ronda can be whatever Ronda wants to be. Ronda can be a pretty, pretty princess if she wants to be, because fuck me if I'm telling her different. I have a lot of real respect for Ronda that is tinged with more than a little bit of naked, unbridled fear. I am afraid of that lady. Ronda wound up carrying the match and winning the match, after trapping Stephanie in an armbar and forcing her to submit. Also, we had a point earlier on in the match where Ronda just beat the living fuck snot out of Triple H. I mean, just went at him with fist after fist after fist. And the poor guy had no fucking clue. It was beyond awesome. There were so many moments during that match. I'm just going, oh God, oh yes, oh God, oh yes, oh God. Pretty much by the end of the match, when Stephanie finally tapped out and I'm sitting there going, snap her arm, and the audience was, chanting break her arm. I'm like, you could break her arm, Ronda. Yeah, you could. You could also rip it off and toss it into the fifth row. I mean, I would laugh because I have a real dark streak. I admit it. The match after that was the three-way tag team dance. That's confusing. With Jimmy and Jey Uso who came into the match as the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, going against Big E and Kofi Kingston from the New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers. New Day's entrance. Okay, I'm like, I don't, what the, alright, okay, I have a big problem with one thing about the New Day. I have had a problem with this for a while. And this is a completely side thing. I admit it, it's a side thing, it's a me thing, I'm sorry. I have a problem with the whole unicorn thing. Now, the reason I'm saying that is not because I don't like unicorns. I love unicorns. I have been collecting unicorns since I was about 10 years old. And I have, pendants and jewelry and books and all kinds of stuff and some nice figurines. My collection kind of branched out into other fantasy figures and dragons and all this stuff like that because I'm a nerd. Yay! My big problem is the fact that the whole unicorn thing is, I don't know when people started making unicorns cute, but man, I wish they'd quit it. Unicorns are supposed to be figures of beauty and power and majesty and mystery. They're not supposed to be rainbow manes and, it's just, oh man, that shit drives me nuts. And I realize I am probably completely alone, and I know that all the bronies out there now want to kick my ass, but the whole cutesy unicorn thing, I can't deal with it. I don't like it. Bugs me. Anyway, back to the match, which I know you're all going, could we fucking stop talking about unicorns, Kim? The match wound up being won by the Bludgeon Brothers, who are now the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Yay. So we go from two really good-looking, talented guys in Jimmy and Jey Uso to two big, talented guys. Oh gosh, that was bitchy. That was not nice. That is not to say Harper and Rowan are not entertaining, and they don't do good work as being big guys and being scary, because they do both of those things very well. But just between you and me, just between us girls, if you gave me a choice, Jimmy and Jey Uso, Harper and Rowan, who do I want to look at? I'm gonna be looking at Jimmy and Jey. Thanks all the same. Ugh. That brought up the whole thing. We get to the whole thing that happened with John Cena, where he, ran to the back, and then John came out and was dressed like he was going to wrestle. He seemed really excited and, completely ready to go in there and fight the Undertaker and everything else. And, yeah. Well, what happened was that Elias came out to sing, and do his whole shtick. Oh, man. I did think it was very nice that when he was walking to the ring, one of the songs that he was, noodling with on his guitar was the opening to The House of the Rising Sun. That, I see what you did there. That was nice, actually. I was like, that was good. And Elias doing his whole thing, which I'm just like, I would rather walk into a rattlesnake pit barefoot than walk with Elias. I would rather walk into a 24-hour showing of Batman and Robin. That shows you that I'm fucking serious, folks. Cena, needless to say, was like, fuck this shit, and beat the living crap out of Elias, to which I think music lovers everywhere went, thank you! Disappointed, Cena started to leave, but the lights went out. When the lights came back on, the Undertaker's hat and coat, which he had taken off after the match that he lost to Roman Reigns, where he laid his gear in the ring, the hat and coat were in the ring. And then these two bolts of lightning came down and hit them. And then the lights went out again, and the lights came back up. And the gear is gone. And the music started. And he's here. And I just got this enormous grin on my face. And certain parts of me got very interested. And I just remember thinking about Cena and just getting completely into the storyline and just thinking, you stupid, stupid boy. You don't knock on hell's door and not expect the devil to answer. The Undertaker came out to the ring and beat the living fucking holy hell out of John Cena, ending everything with a tombstone piledriver. Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Taker. Ooh, just thinking about that gets me all warm and fuzzy again. The match after that was one that I think even more people were waiting for that than were waiting for The Undertaker to show up, although I was really, 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 really waiting for The Undertaker to show up. I'm sorry, let me jump back a little bit. we had the introduction of all of the people that were being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, which was a cool thing, obviously very cool. And then we had the tag team match that was going to determine the fates of two of former SmackDown employees. We had Daniel Bryan teaming up with Shane McMahon to face Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And the whole thing of the match was that, previously Kevin and Sami had been fired from SmackDown, and if they won this match, they were going to be rehired. I have said all along that I had very uncomfortable feelings about this match. I was like just being cynical, I guess, or being paranoid, or however you want to word it. I was worried Daniel was going to fuck Shane over and all this stuff like that. But as it turned out, it didn't happen that way. And I gotta say, Daniel Bryan, dude, welcome back. Welcome back. And you look fucking awesome. You look amazing. Anybody who was worried about ring rust and all that, there was none of that. At the end of the match, Sami Zayn had to submit to the yes lock, and so Sami and Kevin are still fired from SmackDown. Following that was the Raw Women's Championship match with champion Alexa Bliss taking on Nia Jax. Alexa was accompanied to ringside by Mickie James, and Nia made her a non-issue by destroying her before the match started. I'm like, well, we're off to a whiz-bang start, aren't we? Oh, this was a thing of beauty. This was an absolute thing of beauty. Nia pinned Bliss after an avalanche Samoan drop, and she became the Raw Women's Champion. That meant so much to anybody out there who has ever felt different, who has ever felt excluded, who has ever felt like the world tells you you don't fit in and you don't belong. I really am glad that Nia won, because I think she could be a great role model for girls that don't fit what society says is beautiful. I mean, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but, every once in a while, even boy bands get it right. To quote One Direction, you don't know you're beautiful, that's what makes you beautiful. And that's Nia. I think she's a beautiful lady. And I'm not saying Alexa Bliss is not a beautiful woman herself, because she is. And I'm sure Alexa, the person behind her, wrestling persona, is a lovely person. But Alexa, the performer, is a skinny bitch, and I hate her, so I'm glad she lost. Suck it. Following that was another one of those matches that everybody was waiting and drooling over, and I will be the first to admit that I was one of those people that was like, oh man, this is gonna be fucking amazing. With AJ Styles, the WWE champion, SmackDown champion as well, I should say it that way, putting his belt on the line against Shinsuke Nakamura. Wow. This was just, amazing hold after amazing hold, and just completely, it was sick. I mean, it was a completely sick match, that AJ wound up winning, countering a Kinshasa. That is very difficult to say when you're sober. Countering that and turning it into a Styles Clash, getting a pin and retaining the belt. Now, what happened after the match was where things started to go very, 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 very extremely, totally, utterly sideways. Nakamura seemed to be following in the actions of his fellow country person, Asuka, earlier on, in the fact that he presented AJ with the belt and was, being very respectful and showing the better person won the match. The thing is, after AJ took the belt from him, Nakamura hit AJ in the nuts and then hit him with a Kinshasa. That is very difficult to say when you're sober. Knocking him to the floor and turning heel. Nakamura no baka. Yes, I said it. It's about the only Japanese I know. Thank you, Rumiko Takahashi. Big fan of Ranma 1/2 that I am. The next match was almost to the last match, where we're like, we're almost there, folks. It's also almost tomorrow, but we had the tag team belts from Raw going on the line with The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, defending against Braun Strowman and his partner. Whomever the fuck his partner was, because he still hadn't said up to WrestleMania who his partner was going to be. So, out comes Braun. Braun still doesn't have a partner. And I'm like, thinking to myself, is he actually going to do the whole bunny rabbit sock puppet thing that I suggested? But no, because we don't get nice things. Braun says he's going to pick somebody out of the audience. And I'm like, is he fucking kidding? And apparently he's not fucking kidding, because out into the audience, Mr. Strowman strolls. And he's walking around and looking at people, and people are all screaming, pick me, and I'm all like, are you people on drugs? You want to get in the ring with Cesaro and Sheamus? Are you fucking high? I'm sorry, no. I mean, I would, because I'm fucking insane, but I mean, I don't want to think everybody else in the Superdome was crazy. That's a frightening thought. Braun finally picks a partner and brings his partner to the ring and introduces his partner as Nicholas. Or his partner introduces himself as Nicholas, I should say. Now, that's all well and nifty, except for the fact that Nicholas is a child. He's, a child. I don't know how else to say this. I mean, I was like, that's a little boy. I mean, no offense to Nicholas. I mean, I'm sure he would have really gone in there and gotten killed, but, Braun's instructions were stand on the ring, stand on the apron and let me do my thing. Nicholas listens very well, because most of the time he stood there on the apron like he was supposed to and looked like, you ever see a deer when there's a semi barreling down on them? That's the look. That's the look right there. He did get tagged in once and then tagged out faster than you can say, what just happened? Needless to say, the winner of the match was Braun Strowman after a running power slam on Cesaro. And so Strowman and Nicholas became the WWE Tag Team Champions, and I think something inside my brain exploded. I know that some people completely wigged out about this and were like, oh, how dare they, blah, 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 it's, sullying so many people's achievements, blah, 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 fucking blah. Why so serious? It's wrestling. Lighten the fuck up. Now, of course, I say that, coming to the main event, which was Brock Lesnar, the Universal Champion, going against Roman, take me now, Reigns. I'm sorry, I didn't, sorry, Roman, call me. I don't think there's enough words in the English language to say how much I despise Brock Lesnar, which is really depressing because I happen to think Paul Heyman, his advocate, like Brock Lesnar could spell advocate. I happen to think that, Heyman's a riot, and he's, so charismatic, so great on the microphone, and he's just stuck with this big twit. And my husband, my guy, who is a sweet, wonderful, caring person that puts up with me and all my craziness, has this whole thing where he imitates Paul the way Paul says Brock Lesnar's name, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want to shred my vocal cords. The way he does it, though, it's very close to the way Paul does it, which always, to me, sounds like what would happen if you pulled a chicken through a keyhole. You know, it's just this very weird way that he draws out the words and shit. Anyway. So, we had the match, and it went back and forth, you know, quite a bit, but unfortunately, Brock Lesnar won after 6 F5s. It took you 6 F5s, you piece of shit, to be able to pin Roman Reigns, because Roman just would not give up. And at one point, Lesnar took off his gloves and started hitting Roman right in the face and made him bleed. And that was the point where I went, oh no, you didn't. That was the point where I was like, my guy's like, oh fuck, here it comes. You know, 'cause I'm like totally paying attention to the match up till this point and have been very quiet. Now I see Roman's blood and I'm just like, you motherfucking son of a bitch, blah, 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 F word, F word, F word, C word, bunch of other words, you know, and he's just sitting there like, I'm surprised the paint's not coming off the walls. The fans also did not seem particularly thrilled with the ending of the match. There were, you know, chants of boring, there were chants of this is awful, the obligatory CM Punk chants, which I still don't understand. He's not coming back, people. So that wrapped up WrestleMania and left me with an incredibly sour taste in my mouth. Now, let's talk about endurance. Now, endurance is something obviously very important. You need endurance for certain things, you know, certain physical activities. You need a lot of endurance, like, you know, marathons and stuff. What did you think I meant? And you obviously need, like, mental endurance for, you know, big tests and SATs and stuff like that. Attention is also an endurance test. Holding an audience's attention for 7 fucking hours. Think about this for a minute. When we started watching WrestleMania, it was Sunday. By the time WrestleMania wrapped up, it was Monday fucking morning. Now, I have done some endurance stuff in other ways, but not like, you know, serious, you know, strenuous physical endurance stuff, because that's not me. I mean, good luck to people who do it. Sick, mad respect for you if you can do it. And serious, big, huge shout out to everybody who's going to be running in the Boston Marathon next Monday. You know, kick it in the ass. People do a great job, and be very and everybody be careful and be safe. Obviously, want everybody to have a good time and be safe. But the whole idea of how you can have endurance for long shows like this. I mean, we've done some long movie stuff that falls into this category. TC and I, went to a screening that they did of the extended version of the Lord of the Rings movies. All 3 extended movies back to back to back. We got to the theater at like 10:30 or something in the morning and didn't get home till like 5 minutes of 12. One Sunday we went over to a friend's place and watched up till that point, the 4 Harry Potter movies that were out. The only other thing I could think of that was this insane endurance-wise was TC and I a couple years ago, when Civil War came out, they had this promotion at the theater, our local theater, and we decided to give it a whack. And they showed, I'm gonna screw this up. They showed Captain America the First Avenger, The Avengers, Captain America Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, and then Captain America Civil War. So it was like, by the end of the night, I was like, my eyes are crossing. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to go through something like that again. And then we get this. I'm like, guys, there were a lot of really good spots in WrestleMania. There were a lot of really good spots. There was also a lot of stuff where it was like, oh, can't we wrap this up, please? I want to go to bed. It's like crying out loud. I don't think I'm alone in that. I'd love to know what you guys thought. Did you give WrestleMania a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumb in the middle? If you can do a thumb in the middle, I guess you can. I'd give it a thumbs up. I would definitely give it a thumbs up. Okay, the next evening at Raw, wow, big surprise, shock of shocks. Sit down and wait until you hear Brock Lesnar wasn't there. Wow. I know, I'm stunned, aren't you? I'm completely floored. I just couldn't believe it. I was so sure Brock Lesnar would be there. Anybody who really thought Brock Lesnar was going to be on the next night's Raw, I have some swampland that I would be willing to let you have very cheaply, because everybody knew that he was not going to be there, because, he's Brock Lesnar, blah, 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 fucking whatever. I don't, I'm sorry. I don't like him. I don't like him. I think he's a fucking sucky champion. It's just, I can't deal with it. I just can't. Now, the thing is, we had hype and all this, all the stuff that happened at WrestleMania and all this stuff like that. And then we had the beginning of the show, which was Stephanie. Stephanie, who came out to the, to the crowd, wearing a sling on her arm. To which I started smiling, Stephanie got in the ring and once again made it all about her and how she, made Ronda Rousey work hard to have a good match and blah, 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 and all this stuff like that. And then she asked Ronda to come out to the ring. I'm like, are you that fucking stupid? Apparently she is. Ronda comes out to the ring and they kind of talk back and forth a little bit. And the crowd's not buying what Stephanie's selling, and neither is Ronda. They shake hands, they have a hug, and then Ronda grabs a hold of Stephanie and puts her in an extremely painful move called a double wrist lock. And she puts her in an arm breaker, she rips off her sling, and by this point I'm just, I needed a cigarette. I really needed a cigarette, and I don't smoke. So there's that. We see Stephanie being tended to by the officials, and JoJo asks the crowd to have a little respect for Stephanie, and of course that makes people start cheering louder. And the only reason people didn't go, fuck you, JoJo, is because JoJo's, small and cute, and it would be like kicking a bunny. It would just, I couldn't be mean to her if I tried. She's this little cute person. I'd feel terrible about it. We get told about the Superstar Shakeup. It's a 2-night event starting next week on Raw, so we're going to get people bouncing between shows, and so that'll be cool. We have Alexa Bliss come out to ringside and running down Nia Jax. Finally, Nia tells her to shut up. And, complaining about the fact she's needling Nia, saying Nia doesn't have a partner for their match tonight between Alexa and Mickey against Nia. And it turns out Nia does have a partner. Nia's partner's name is Ember Moon. Now, for those of you who don't know who Ember Moon is, she is from NXT and she is fucking frightening. Not in the same way Asuka's frightening. It's a different kind of frightening. Besides the fact that she's got red eyes, so instantly I'm thinking Crossroads Demon, because this is what happens when Supernatural fans watch wrestling. Although Crossroad Demons obviously have red eyes. They're all red. It's, so. She would have been better off if it was a demon in there, because Nia and Ember managed to completely paint the ring with Alexa and Mickey. Awesome, awesome match. In the back, we see Kurt Angle on the phone. This is going to become the motif for the evening every time Kurt Angle is on the damn phone. He is joined by Braun Strowman and Nicholas, who is standing behind Braun, so obviously Kurt can't see him at first. Braun, with a heavy heart and heavier beard, says that they have to relinquish the tag team titles. Because Nicholas has a scheduling conflict. Because he's, in grade school. But when he gets done with school, they're going to come back for the title, and Nicholas says someone is going to get these hands, quoting Braun. And it was just precious. It was just so cute. Couldn't stand it. I wanted to just ruffle his hair. I was like, oh, you're so sweet. Have a cookie. He was quite good on the mic, actually. I thought he did a nice job. No fear or anything. Good. So I'm like, for everybody who was bitching and moaning and whining and kvetching and being just a general buzzkill about the match last night, so now the belts are up for grabs. Are you fucking happy? Phew. Like I said, why so serious? Following that, we had a video package for NXT performer No Way Jose. I don't, not going there. Not touching that. Leaving that the fuck alone. And we had a match with No Way Jose going against John Skyler, with No Way winning. That dude is tall. I never noticed before how tall that guy was. I'm like, man, that guy is a freaking redwood tree. And of course, he's got his conga line out there, which, I'm sorry, I'm having freaking flashbacks. Anybody remember a wrestler named Billy Joe Travis? He's not with us any longer. Billy Joe was a wrestler in the southern part of the country, and, this is back when people used what I refer to as proper music, music you actually heard. It wasn't like written for the wrestler and stuff like that. Billy Joe, I remember, used to use, I cannot for the life of me remember who did that song. He used to use a song called Party Train. And he used to have people come out and like dancing behind him and stuff like that. I thought that was cool. So I guess that's part of No Way Jose's gimmick too. And I'm like, I like that. I was like, I forgot how much I liked that. I forgot how fun it was. I was like, that's fun. In the back, we have Kurt being greeted by Cesaro and Sheamus, who are all like, well, we want our titles back. And Kurt's like, fuck you. He's all like, you're not getting your titles back. I'm not handing them back to you. You lost the belts to Braun Strowman and a child. They're gonna have a rematch in 3 weeks at the greatest Royal Rumble ever in Saudi Arabia. But they need to have opponents to go against, obviously, because their opponents ain't gonna be Braun and Nicholas. So we have a match for the tag team elimination tournament with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson going against the Revival, Scott Dawson, and Dash Wilder. With Wilder hitting the Shatter Machine for the 3 count, and the winners being Dawson and Wilder. And yet, I don't care. I'm sorry, I know that they're supposed to be all, we're like bare bones wrestlers and we're all like, not into the flying and flippy shit and blah, blah, blah and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, well, that's fantastic. And you don't have to be into the flippy shit for me to care about you. And yet I don't. I don't care about you at all. Returning to the show, we have Seth Rollins coming down to ringside, talking with the fans and talking about the fact that that with his win, the last evening and becoming the Intercontinental Champion, that means that he is now the last member of the Shield to be a Grand Slam champion. Roman Reigns has been, so is Dean Ambrose. Get well soon, Dean. We miss you. And that was really awesome. Finn Balor comes out to the ring, and they kind of have a little banter back and forth. And Finn says that he wants to congratulate Seth for winning the belt and wants to be the first person to challenge him for the belt. I'm all like, great, let's have a match with loser loses the belt and his trunks. I'm totally fine with that. I'm really giving that way. The Miz winds up coming down to ringside, and he is joined by the Miz Taraj. I don't get Miz's outfits. I just don't. The red thing that he wore at WrestleMania, I don't get it. I mean, it's better than the black thing, the black robe thing that he was wearing before that looked like what would happen if a Sith Lord ran into a weed whacker. But I don't know. I mean, I like the red better. The color actually looked really good on him. I thought it looked good. So, and there's a lot of back and forth going on. And Miz keeps bringing up the fact that he's a changed person, that he is, that he is a dad now and all this stuff like that. And, I'm not buying a second of it. I'm not buying one little second of it. I'm sure that Miz is a great dad. I'm sure, Mike Mizanin is a great father. Miz is a dick. That's all there is to it. The thing is, Miz is all like, well, we the three of us can, kick your two asses. But it turns out that it's not going to be the two of them. It's going to be three of them because Jeff Hardy's here. And Jeff Hardy says that he wants to be part of this little shindig as well. So we're going to have a 6-man match with Miz and the Miztourage versus Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Jeff Hardy. I've had dreams like this. Wow. And I'm just like, oh, good, Jeff's back. And doesn't look like he got bit by a walker. Hooray! I'm sorry. I am so sorry. And I know that might confuse some people, but seriously, when they started this whole Matt Hardy's lost his fucking mind thing in TNA, and they, Jeff was part of that whole fucking circus. I'm sorry, Jeff looked like a fucking walker out of The Walking Dead, with the zombie eyes and just looking 8 kinds of screwed up. I was like, I don't get it. I don't. I'm completely friggin' confused. The next match was Sasha Banks versus Mandy Rose, who had Paige and Sonya Deville at ringside, and Bayley was at ringside as well. The winner of the match was Mandy Rose. Yay. And Bayley she caused it to happen, but it was by accident, I think. And she goes to the back, and Sasha follows after her, and we get the feeling they're not gonna go have coffee. Paige has a microphone, and she starts talking about her career and her family and the things she's been through. And she says that, she made her debut in the WWE in New Orleans 4 years back and won the ladies' belt at that time. Because of the neck injuries that she has suffered, she is not going to be able to be an active competitor anymore. And she wants to retire in New Orleans. She says this will always be her house, and she takes the mic, takes her shirt, leaves them in the center of the ring, and heads off to the back. What this means for Absolution, I don't really know. If they're going to keep the two of them together, if they're going to split them apart, I'm not really sure. I've been really kind of irritated with Paige's character since she came back. But Paige the person, you never want to see somebody have to retire because of injury, and that's obviously not a good thing. And as a fan and as a woman and as a person, thank you for all you did, Paige. Thanks for being really entertaining. And thanks for the memories, and I hope we'll see you doing something else, which we will the next night. Hint, hint, hint. After a commercial, we have the video footage of John Cena getting absolutely obliterated by The Undertaker. And then we have Elias in the ring because we can't have nice things. He says he's going to perform because we're being punished again. He is interrupted because God is great. Because he is interrupted because God loves us and wants us to be happy. He is interrupted by the returning Bobby Lashley, which, I was like, wow, hey, Bobby, nice to see you. Have you gotten larger? I'm sorry. I mean, Bobby Lashley is an impressive physical specimen, has always been an impressive physical specimen, but holy cow did he wreck Elias. I mean, the whole thing where he's just standing there and holding Elias in the air in a suplex and holding him and holding him and holding him and then just dropped him. I mean, that's going to be the only time ever that being dropped on your face had to feel good. Because after being hung up there for so long, it was just, it was completely nuts. We cut to the back. Kurt Angle is, wait for it, on the phone, talking about how he's happy that Bobby Lashley has signed with Raw. And it turns out that there's somebody outside waiting to come in. And it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And who's fucking surprised at this? I know. Stunning. Real M. Night Shyamalan twist there, folks. Sami and Kevin instantly try to suck up to Kurt and tell him that they're looking for a job and all this stuff like that. And Kurt brings up that the tag team division on Raw is very full, but TNA's hiring. Ooh. Clean up on aisle 3. You guys want some ointment for that burn? I'm sorry. Wow. Kevin quickly as we know Kevin Owens can do, because if there was an actual term for chronic backstabbing, I think they'd call it Owens syndrome. He's quick to say that Kevin and Sami aren't a tag team. Kevin brings up that he has a family and that, Sami also brings up he has a family, and Kevin then ups it by saying Sami doesn't have any kids. I don't really. So you have kids. Congrats. Thanks for procreating and adding to the surplus population of the world, Kevin. Great. No, I'm just teasing. From what I've heard, Kevin's a really wonderful dad, so obviously yay to that. They do say they're asking for a chance. That's all they need is a chance. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Kurt comes up with a decision worthy of King Solomon that they can fight each other for a spot. There's one spot on the roster. Dance, monkey, dance. Coming back from commercial, we have another match for the tag team elimination tournament with Rhino and Heath Slater. And after his whole Heath's usual, I got kids, blah, 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 he calls out any team that wants to come out from the back. I don't know why people do this. It never works out for the caller. And we get a team that comes out, the Authors of Pain from NXT, Akam and Razor, who come out with Paul Ellering. And that goes about as well as you think it's going to. Hey, does anybody else remember when Rhino was ECW champion and we were afraid of him? Yeah, me too. a common Razor win the match. Stunner. The thing is, after the match, they don't seem to want to have anything to do with Paul Ellering, which I was like, I don't know if that's smart, you guys. I mean, he is, Paul Ellering, precious Paul Ellering, the guy that, helped make the Road Warriors the dominant force that they were, but whatever, you know what you're doing. You're big, scary people. I'm just a twit with a mic. After commercial, we come back and find out that Brock Lesnar has signed a contract extension with the WWE. Oh joy, oh rapture. Ugh. And that Brock Lesnar will be facing Roman Reigns in a steel cage match in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And Roman comes out to the ring, talks about the match from the evening before, and then is rudely interrupted by Samoa Joe, who starts talking a whole bunch of shit and says that he's going to be waiting for Roman at Backlash. Okay, let's think about this. We have two Samoan badasses. One of them is super handsome, really sexy, very charismatic, and then there's Joe. So there's that. Yeah, I'm a bitch. I know it. But I'm cute. And I've got a mic. In the back, we see Matt Hardy with the trophy, the Andre the Giant trophy that he's talking to. Because, of course, he is. And his partner, that is going to be his partner for the tag team eliminator match that's going to be next. His partner, Bray Wyatt. Oh gosh, my head hurts. And we have a match with Titus O'Neil and Apollo, with Dana Brooke in their corner, going against the team of Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, and I just don't fucking get it. The match ends with Matt hitting a twist of fate, and so we know that Matt and Bray will be going on in the tournament. God help us all. Recap of the whole Stephanie and Rhonda stuff earlier on, with Rhonda almost ripping Stephanie's arm out of the socket and me just sitting there going, oh God. Again, I'm a woman. I have needs. Don't judge me. The Owens versus Zayn match was next, which, don't forget, is for a spot on Raw. And it was a hell of a match. We know that Kevin and Sammy can go, and they seem to do best when they're against each other, which is just completely out there. The problem, the fly in the ointment, the knot in the string, is that at the end of the match, they've beaten each other up so badly, they can't get up. Neither of them can get to their feet, and the referee counts to 10. So we have a double count out, which means neither of them get hired to Raw. We have Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and Jeff Hardy in the back walking to, obviously walking toward the stage. And Matt and Jeff have this, little brother talk. And the thing is, Matt asks Bray, who's, obviously Matt's new buddy, how he's doing, and Bray says he's doing wonderful, and everybody laughs, and I'm getting completely freaked out. I mean, and that takes something to freak me out. I mean, I'm not saying I'm like, oh, I'm so hardcore and tough and stuff like that, but I've seen some shit. So, the thing is, Finn asks what all that was about, and Jeff has no clue. Now, how do I put this tactfully? I mean, Jeff is an amazing athlete and extremely easy on the eyes, but no one's ever going to accuse him of graduating from Harvard. There, I said it. Next match, and the last match of the evening, was The Miz with The Miz Taraj, Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas, going against Jeff Hardy, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. crazy all over the place, everywhere match that is eventually won, with Rollins doing the blackout for the 3 count. Winners of the match, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Jeff Hardy. But we're not done, because after the match, Jeff hits a twist of fate onto Bo Dallas, and Finn Balor hits a coup, and then there's a coup de grace from Finn. Jeff with a swanton, Rollins with a blackout, Rollins with a super kick to Curtis Axel, Balor with a coup de grace to Axel, and then Hardy with a swanton, and Rollins with a blackout to Curtis Axel, and then we go to credits. So yeah. So if you were the Miz Taraj, you had a really sucky night. I don't know how else to word it. I don't know how else to say it. Other than one other thing that I have to say, and this is from me. This is from my heart. And this is because I care. I share because I care. Bo Dallas, stop wearing your hair back. Let your hair down. Let your hair down, Rapunzel. Let it go. Just let it go. Okay, moving forward to the next evening, we have SmackDown in New Orleans, Louisiana, and we have Shane McMahon coming out to the ring and thanking everybody for their, response to the show that, the evening before, and talking about how Daniel Bryan has resigned from being the general manager of SmackDown because he wants to be a full-time competitor again. And so they need a new general manager. And Shane brings out the new general manager of SmackDown, who is Paige. Paige says that she's, excited to start here on SmackDown as the general manager, and makes a really good match to start stuff off with Daniel Bryan going against AJ Styles later on in the evening. We have the first match of the night is Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso going against Big E and Xavier Woods with Kofi Kingston in their corner as a number 1 contender match for the tag team belts, which is won by Jimmy and Jey Uso. We cut to the back, and we have, actually before that, we had the whole thing where the Bludgeon Brothers show up and try, and do their whole we're big, tough, scary thing. And after commercial, we come to we're in the back, and we have Naomi, with the trophy that she won, and while she's being interviewed, she's interrupted by Natalya, who starts, running her down and talking about how it's so, her whole look is so 7th grade. Says somebody who dresses like a Power Rangers villain. Okay. Which leads to a match with Naomi versus Natalya that Naomi winds up winning after a spin kick and a split leg moonsault. Renee Young tries to get an interview with Nakamura that doesn't come off very, honest at all. And when she tries to get a real answer from him, Nakamura does the whole no speak English thing. Wow! That was like, okay, that was kind of racist, dude. I mean, I was like, really? We're gonna go there? We're gonna do that? Alright. Charlotte Flair comes out to the ring thanking Asuka for the great match they had at WrestleMania and talking about, what she wants to do next. And she winds up being rudely interrupted by Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, who are 2 Australian wrestlers from NXT. And they just basically verbally attack Charlotte and then physically attack Charlotte. And now this is the part where I could start saying a lot of really nasty, negative stuff about these 2 women. I could say something about the fact that, you obviously have absolutely no class, and if you want to act like a bunch of yubbos on national TV and dress like that, that's entirely up to you. It's a free country. Do what you want. But I definitely think that you 2 are writing checks that your asses can't catch. And Charlotte is going to make it very obvious that you done fucked up. Even more than, your makeup jobs, which were real fuck-ups. The thing is, after they almost beat Charlotte half to death, and it takes 2 of them to do it, Carmella's music plays, and she runs down to ringside, cashes in the women's Money in the Bank briefcase, and steals the belt from Charlotte. Great. So this is the women's champion now, a shrieking, bleach blonde, cheating, gutter snipe thief. Fabulous. That's somebody that little girls can look up to. After commercial, we have Jinder Mahal and Sunil Singh at the announce table for the next match. They're going to sit there and watch it because we can't have nice things. Aiden English comes out and announces that every day, and especially today, is Rusev Day and the crowd goes along with it because they're still all hungover from Mardi Gras. I don't know. We have a number one contender match for the U.S. belt, with Bobby Roode going against Rusev, going against Randy Orton, with the match being won by Randy Orton, who has a stare down with Jinder Mahal once the match is over. We have an interview in the back with Carmella, which makes me like her even fucking less, which I didn't think that was possible, but apparently it is. AJ Styles is interviewed by Renee and brings up the fact that he is going to kick the living fuck out of Nakamura, not using those words exactly, but he's definitely going to go in there and give it his all against Daniel Bryan. And we have Daniel Bryan going against AJ Styles in a non-title match, which was going really, really well until Shinsuke Nakamura decided to show up and hit Daniel Bryan with a Kinshasa, which caused a disqualification, and Nakamura then proceeds to beat the crap out of AJ some more, and then proceeds to smash him in the jewels again, following up with another Kinshasa. Nakamura, is there something you'd like to share with the rest of the class about why you seem so obsessed with AJ Styles' junk? Just asking. It was a good SmackDown. It was, I thought it was well put together and stuff like that. I really enjoyed it. And, all the stuff I was saying about the ladies earlier on, that's their characters. I want to, stress that. That's their characters, not them. So, just wanted to say that up front. I don't want to get accused of being racist or anything like that against people from Australia. I love Australia. It's a beautiful country. Gave us one of the greatest humanitarian people of all time, Steve Irwin. So obviously there's going to be a lot of hype for next week's Raw and SmackDown, which are the shake-up shows. Apparently we're not doing a draft. We're just going to be arbitrarily flinging people back and forth. I really hope that certain people don't get broken up. I don't want the New Day to get broken up because they're fun together. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And obviously there's all this hype for the greatest Royal Rumble ever, which will be held in Saudi Arabia in a couple of weeks, on the WWE network. So that's going to be something really amazing. I hope you enjoyed my show this week. If you have any questions, comments, queries, complaints, anything you'd like to send my way, please do that at platinumroselle@yahoo.com. I will make sure to read it on the air. And if you'd like, I hope you will check out the other shows I'm involved with and are part of our little family. I have another solo show. It's called Platinum Rose's Garden. That's my supernatural podcast, where I talk about all things supernatural from the CW hit show. There are the other shows that I'm involved with TC, including Subject Cinema, which is our movie podcast, where we have movie reviews and news and all kinds of fun things like that. There is our list show, Front Row 5 and 10, where we pick either a top 10 or 2 5s of any kind of list, and we, talk about them for a while, and it's a lot of fun. TC has a solo show as well and a couple of mini shows. His solo show is called Catastrophe Vortex. He is a disaster movie junkie and very knowledgeable about that stuff. He also has 3 Minute Weekend and Tuesday Digidex, which are shows that you can check out so you can see where you want to spend your money. Like if you're interested in what movies are coming out on DVD, at the theater, on on demand, all that stuff. He's really, really knowledgeable about that. Also part of our little happy family of misfit toys, we have Eric and Valerie, the Lion family, over at Cavebabble, cavebabble.com, and we have Anthony and Auntby and Pee-wee over at Comic Grotto. Great guys. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you may do so at PlatinumRoseLady at twitter.com. And I hope that everybody out there has a great rest of the week. And so this is Kim Brown signing off for another week here at Ring Around the Rosie. Have a great week, guys. Bye.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.